You've done this a while. You look like you've done this a while. If only 9% of them have proven that a campaign drove incremental profit, imagine how bad it is for the wash of shit that didn't feel they could submit to the Effies. Oh, quickly, can we talk about that, or do you want to ask me that after the podcast?
No, we can talk about that.
So why? Look,
halfway.
Anyway, look, I'm worried you're going to start invoicing me for a marketing strategy session here.
If you would like to reach an engaged community of marketing leaders, get in touch with That's What I Call Marketing to discuss sponsorship opportunities.
Welcome to That's What I Call Marketing, the podcast where you will hear from the leading lights in the marketing world and listen to their unique insights. If you are enjoying That's What I Call Marketing, and I hope you are, I would love if you could rate or review the show wherever you are listening or watching. It really does help, and I know I say it at the start of every episode. We continue to grow our audience. Over 46,000 people are subscribed to That's What I Call Marketing. So thank you so much for all of that support. Speaking of support, huge thanks to Tracksuit, who are partnering me on this episode. As you know, I've talked about it before, I use Tracksuit all the time. That helps us make better business decisions. We are able to have a shared language across the organization, and everyone has access to Tracksuit. So it doesn't matter what part of the organization you're in, you can access Tracksuit, access the data, and understand it. So if you are interested in finding out more about Tracksuit, you can go to gotracksuit.com and find out all about them. And look, I am more than happy to chat to you about my experience of using Tracksuit. So you can go to that'swhaticallmarketing.com and you can find me there, or you can find me under my own name, Conor Byrne, on LinkedIn. Well, on to today's episode, and I'm joined by the wonderful Andrew Tindall. Now, many of you know Andrew from System 1, and he's just been promoted to Chief Growth Officer. So we get to talk about that and what the future holds for Andrew in that role. But we were really here to talk about Andrew's new publication, The Creative Dividend. So I asked Andrew what it is all about, what he's trying to achieve by putting this publication together. It took him 3 years to do. So he's a very clear vision of what it is, and it is bringing together Effie data from across the world. And I kind of touched on that a few times in the episode, because I just think it actually is really important to see data being used from multiple markets, because it helps really tell the story. We talk about, is there a crisis in confidence in creativity, how creativity is a driver of not just revenue, but profitable growth. I will put a link, if you haven't read it yet, there's a link in the show notes. You can go directly and download the publication as a PDF. And we talk about that actually. At the end, unexpectedly, have a debate on gated content, because I was telling Andrew about my episode with Green Hat. I might put a link to that in the show notes as well, so you can hear that. So we end with the debate on gated content. And bear with us as we start, because I was slagging Andrew, saying it's not a book, it's a PDF, which is really unfair. But Andrew is one of those people where you can actually have a great laugh with. So look, let's get right into it with Andrew Tindall from System 1. Andrew, good to see you again. How are you?
Hey, mate, I thought you were going to record the opening. Is that recorded at a different time? You do that afterwards in post.
Oh,
the magic of podcasting. It's lost.
I know. Is that...
Normally you
like
sit there awkwardly as someone reads a script and, oh, hey, welcome back. It's Andrew Tindall. I'm like, all right, mate.
Is that not, yeah, that's how the professionals do it. I'm not sure how John Evans did it, but listen, first of all, congratulations, Chief Growth Officer at System 1.
Oh, sounds terrifying. I know, I accidentally became important at work and it's ruined my fucking life. So yeah, it's all going very well. So yeah, thank you so much. I'm enjoying it.
Was it one of those things where you got called into the office, they're like, Andrew, we want a word, and you're like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, I very much play things by the seat of my pants for sure. It could be, yeah, you pack your bags, or this is...
You've been promoted.
Yeah, or you've been promoted, or this is our Chief Legal Officer. Can you read this out loud for us, please? Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm here to live another day. So that's good.
No, well, listen, congratulations. It's great to see it. And to be fair, like, I sent John a message when I saw his news. Delighted for him, and good things happen to good people. So yeah, it's good. It's all good.
Well, it's a good signal. So John Evans has officially left System 1 to go full time on his Uncensored CMO podcast. It's a good signal for marketing podcasts. They're in demand, mate. And
Yeah.
so it's good stuff for you, hey?
I should do one.
You should. Have you considered it? What is that weird red microphone that says now? Oh, it's his podcast. Okay. Yes, it's all going well at System 1. We're very happy. Very happy.
And I saw the investment, Brave Bison.
Yeah, right? Brave Bison has become a large shareholder in System 1, and Brave Bison also own the mini MBA. So,
I was going to say own Mark Ritson, but not the other mini MBA.
No one owns Mark Ritson. No. Yeah.
Listen, we're here to talk about your PDF. I mean, your book.
oh, that's good. That's the last time I do a podcast for you at 8 p.m. in the fucking evening. Anyway, podcast? Don't you mean video call? So we're going to get through any of this.
We're not going to get through any of this. So just for context for people who actually are still with us, when Andrew released the book, and I was like, it's not a book, it's a PDF.
I've got a printed copy, you fuck.
I know.
It's just out of reach. Give me 1 second. I'm back. Is that? Hey, shove that PDF up your podcast, all right? Okay. Oh. For our listeners, I've just pulled out the printed book. If you can't see it.
To prove it's a printed book. But no, listen, it's like I've read through it, and I genuinely did read through it. I didn't stick it in AI.
I've actually found it's one of those books that once you put it down, it's quite hard to pick back up again. So I'm glad you got through it.
But it pulls together so many things, right? And that's what I really enjoyed about it. But like when you set out to pull this together, because there's a lot in it, right? What were you trying to solve for?
So I think everyone needs a worldview of marketing to operate within. I've learned a lot of my worldview of marketing through the likes of Ritson and stuff like this, and Lesbinet and all that stuff. That is built on foundations of text and effectiveness research. And I think there's 2 desires from me. One is I have a lot of clients in the US, and they won't believe me when I pull out the IPA. They're like, oh, it's UK data. Why should I listen to you? This isn't stand-up in the US, which is just frustrating. So really want to, at its bare minimum, repeat and prove some of the principles that the IPA has spent decades proving, like the long and short of it, the importance of spending more on broad reach, etc., at a global level. So that's initially kind of why we partnered with Effie worldwide, because they are the global effectiveness body with thousands and thousands of cases. The other was, and I think creativity has been largely ignored, if I'm completely honest, from a lot of effectiveness thinking. I think if you look at what is evidence in a book, that advertising is getting less emotional, less consistent, less entertaining, less distinctive. There's some great work that we'll just talk about actually before we hit the recording, but lost all our listeners because we just have too much fun doing this, where if you actually look at how much you can charge for a unit of work from a creative agency, that's fallen by 75% of the past 3 decades. That research, that data is from Michael Farmer. If anyone wants to go look at what he's doing, he's a really interesting thinker from the US. So I think creativity is dropping off as an industry, yet somehow media has won. I think media has had a great PR agency of the past kind of 5 decades where media split out from creativity and protected their margins. You see a lot of businesses just leaning into spending more. And I think creativity has really been left by the sidelines, really. We've got some pockets of excellence in this kind of world where, like, Paul Dyson has showed that creativity can 12x your profit, and Lesbinet and Peter Field showed that creatively rewarded work can actually work ESOV and turn it into market share harder. Apart from that, we stopped and didn't bother explaining what the fuck creativity was. So I wanted to fill that gap and really take a lot of what we know in a worldview in a modern way and bring it into a playbook that a marketer can actually read, and it helps with their job every day. Was really my aim.
Yeah. And it is, I hate using the word accessible, but like it is, right? You can read it. It's not something that requires some sort of a degree. Do you know what I mean?
Agreed. Yeah. Well, this one's written by your friendly local northerner, so that's why it's, that's why it's listed with spelling mistakes.
I wouldn't have noticed.
If anyone spots it, Anyway.
But one of the interesting things that you kind of start with, or you kind of talk about, is confidence. and like how the industry confidence is wobbling. But it probably comes back to what you were talking about there, is that there's lots of reasons for that. But I find that quite interesting that, that was like almost a starting framing point for you.
Yeah. Well, you've actually read it, so that's great because that's in the book. I believe you now. You've actually read it. So yeah. So I actually think that's a key point that I've not actually managed to talk to anyone about yet. I think the biggest marketing skill of the next decade is something that I call creative confidence. Essentially, we did this massive survey before we did the research because I refused to do another piece of like theoretical research that no one read. I want it to be practical. And we discovered this gap around one, people still don't believe advertising works and they don't have the confidence in creativity that it was going to deliver effectiveness in advertising. And then actually, when you draw down into it, a lot of businesses see creativity as a risk. That fact alone means that advertising can't work. So if you don't have the creative confidence to recognize when you've got a good campaign, then you won't put media behind it and it won't do what it can do in the first place. So what instead you get is most marketers and most brands spray and pray. They do a little bit of this. It's why digital is so sexy. Oh, this one's got more clicks. Should we let's do that again? But you don't have that at an effectiveness level. So you just get kind of every year, new campaign. We don't know really which ones are working harder. And like literally, I think it was like 60% of people have a real lacking confidence in advertising ability to deliver effectiveness, which is, if we don't solve that, then we're not going to be able to, one, charge for creativity or back it enough for it to even work, or kind of understand and improve and guide it in the first place.
There's so many things there, because I remember talking to the guy, and you'll love this, and the guys who made the really famous Guinness Christmas ad.
Oh,
and
the one that runs every year in Ireland.
Yeah, for the last 20 odd.
That's a big scoop on this podcast, hey?
Yeah.
Hey, you're doing well, mate.
Yeah.
Who was it?
It was Pat and Mark from the agency, and then Tom and Damien, who were the client. And what was really interesting about that, like there was so many people involved, but they were the four that came together to talk about it. And Damien Devaney, or maybe it was Tom, talked about the role of the client in an organization. I think his words are like protecting the flame of the idea. So I think when you there talking about that creative confidence, that kind of strikes me as there's the two sides to it, right? The agency side and the client side. And then in organizations, what can happen a lot is people de-risk. We think about all the things that could go wrong. And, if you don't have the confidence in creative as a driver of effectiveness, then
you won't bother anyway to take that risk. Also, you see it with the best kind of general managers, big businesses, when they're looking after a market, and you have to do possibly the most important job in marketing, which is balancing your portfolio investments. They can't have that creative confidence and go, that's brilliant work, that's working, and pulling all my investment off the rest of them back in that because that's what's going to grow this market, then you're not going to succeed. But also, you can't really blame brands these days for not taking risks. Like the majority of the job, if you're listed, is to grow 1% every year. So why the hell would you take that risk? It's really like what you're really battling up against.
Yeah, it's tough. And then the other stat that struck me was 77% of campaigns report revenue growth, only 9% report profit. That was, I remember I was reading that. I did read that bit again.
Yeah, you were like, "What? You had to take your socks off and your gloves, and we're like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 9. Okay." So that's insane. Do you know why that's more insane? It's because of this data set that we've written, all the research with over the past 3 years it took. All the data has come from people that have submitted to an Effie globally across US, UK, Ireland, and Europe. Sure, it involves the entrants. They're not just finalists and winners.
Yeah.
But if only 9% of them have proven that a campaign drove incremental profit, imagine how bad it is for the wash of shit that didn't feel they could submit to the Effies. So 1 in 10 advertising campaigns creating incremental profit. That's I think that might be a very positive spin on the industry, to be honest. If all campaigns were doing that, then there'd be rude health in economies. Yeah. And it's just not the case, is it?
Do you think it's a measurement thing with that? Are people measuring the wrong thing, the right thing? Is that part of it?
I think 99 out of 100 business professionals don't think the role of advertising is to generate incremental profit. I think they think revenue is enough. If you look at reporting, case studies, show me the campaigns and case studies and success stories where they've actually proven incremental profit. Like, sure, there's a measurement story there around having to, often that improves to prove that you need econometrics or some proper modeling or at least some comparisons versus previous year. But honestly, people reporting like revenue all the time. ROI is often just the majority of the time it's just revenue. I just don't think people push for that profit thing.
Yeah, it's a very powerful distinction to make in the book as well, because it does make you think, okay, hang on a second, am I reporting or even trying to look at that versus revenue? Because it is quite typical to report revenue growth, right?
Yeah, for sure.
The nuance in profit is...
I think the next best thing is actually market share growth, where you've created more revenue than the category. But ideally, it's profitable market share growth. I think in some cases, especially these days, it'd be quite okay to not grow market share, but grow your profit and actually just make a more profitable business where you can charge more and you're not desperately trying to force more frozen chips in people's baskets. But, you've got them to pay 50p more. I think it's a very valid thing to do now. So, I think the industry needs to wake up and smell the frozen oven chips and move away, quite like McCain did in the IPA Gold winning case this last year. Brilliant. See what I did there? Where they move away from revenue and actually look at how do we create incremental profit. And actually, some of the tools and the guides to doing that are actually in this research, I guess.
And pricing is again, Mark Ritson's talked a lot about how removed we as marketers can be from pricing, but even understanding the impact and power of it if you don't control it, I think is really important. And there's so many great examples. I spoke to the guys who did the European Kellogg's master brand work. Kellogg's have a huge challenge because I walk into a Lidl or an Aldi and I can buy, corn flakes or whatever they call the thing.
I've got some cream for that, mate. Don't worry. I unfortunately, oh, it sounds painful. Here you go. So I had to unfortunately write about this in my column the other day. Price increases, not your cornflakes. Because Guinness, the great Guinness, is putting their draft price up by 5%. So I actually dug back into the pricing power literature and academia, and it was kind of laid out for us 30 years ago. And Ritson often talks about this. There's a great HBR article based on McKinsey research where, okay, what if you move 1% of everything? Your profit, your cost base, your price, your fixed costs, your volume, etc. What impact does that have on your profit? And essentially, if you move 1% in your price for this large collection of businesses they looked at, you saw 11% boom in your profit.
Yeah.
Whereas if you saw a 1% move in your volume, you only saw 3% move in your profit. Yeah. But I think, again, quite like creativity, the industry never told us how to create pricing power, if I'm completely honest. And I don't think Byron Sharp still won't agree that brand building has much of an impact on price. He thinks it's about kind of product and category differentiation. Whereas in this research is very clear evidence that good, effective advertising, i.e. creative advertising that's been backed enough media spend, can actually allow you to put your price up. So if you're emotional, consistent, entertaining, and with your advertising and distinctive, and you back it with enough media spend, well, you can actually start charging more for your product. We've moved the industry forward a little bit from, we know price is important. You can't just put your price up. You might lose all your volume. How do we grow pricing power? And effective advertising and creativity is one of the ways to do that.
Definitely. Yeah. And I do think the brands like Kellogg's are great examples of brands that have pricing power, but I've had to sustain that now in a really competitive. And I love the work they've done with Cornelius. I think it's just
bringing it back. Genius.
So good. Yeah, so good. Jurassic 5 sound like it's all the elements of brilliant creativity and showing how also it can work across so many markets. Anyway, we digress. The Creative Dividend. Now,
never heard of it.
Sounds made up.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It sounds like they're trying too hard to me. But go on. What's your question?
I guess explain it to people who haven't yet read the publication, the book.
Of course. The video. Oh, okay. On this very nice video of this web call we're doing. So we took a load of Effie case studies across US, Europe, Ireland, and the UK.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt what I just did, but you said that a couple of times, and I think it is really important because you touched on it at the start. I think it's just comes a lot up. People going, yeah, but that's that market. And so what I do love is this is across Effies in multiple markets. If you want to find out more about Tracksuit, go to gotracksuit.com and find out how they can be your affordable, always on brand tracking dashboard.
Unfortunately, we couldn't build APAC into it, and that's a challenge for the future because this literally took us 3 years to do as is. But what's also unique about it is other things as well. So there's a large proportion of B2B cases in here as well, which is important. Only half the cases use TV as their main channel. So a good half the cases had digital mix. A solid couple hundred of them would be what I describe challenger brands. So you actually have some small brands of submitting to the Effies. So it's a really good collection of global brand size, B2B, B2C, using digital, using TV. So I think that's a really unique base of data to actually build this upon. And what's also unique about it is that we connected every campaign to their creative data in System 1's testing. So normally in these kinds of research, when you're looking at conclusions about emotion or stuff like that, it's the advertiser themselves or the researcher going, yeah, okay, I reckon Cornelius is, a bit emotional. Cute chicken, etc. This, we showed all the ads to 250,000 respondents from the market the advertising launched in to measure how emotional, how distinctive, what creative features were recognized, how consistent the work was. And then what we essentially did was understand the 4 outputs of creativity, how emotional work is, how distinctive, how consistent, and how much showmanship the campaigns had, and linked those to brand effects and business results, as well as bringing in that media side as well, what channels were used, what strategies were used, how much was invested, and really got to the bottom of the role of creativity and how it can be planned with media to create sustained success. It's a playbook to advertising that pays back. It was my tagline I chose. I hope that does it justice.
It does, but there's a formula.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that. There is a formula.
Do you?
I don't. Yeah. I mean, I'm on the edge. I'm on the edge, man. I'm on the edge every day. I'm on the fence about this. Yeah. There's a formula. I said this at the start. We need a worldview and a shared language for us to operate in. And honestly, we get to at the end of the book. We actually, I think we prove what advertising can do for business. We get to this idea that looking at whether good creativity has been backed by good media, which is so rare. You actually find that 83% of campaigns are just designed to fail. Either they're below average creative quality compared to the category, or they're above average creative quality, but they've not got anywhere near enough media to do anything. Or they're absolutely shit and they've got millions of media spend, but they're not going to do anything in the first place. So I say we don't need formulas, but I think actually if we could all just up our level of understanding of creativity a smidge, so we can all start at least planning and talking about this kind of stuff in the same language, I think it is a helpful thing.
Yeah, and this is such a good point that there's having a wonderful campaign and the don't. I literally haven't had that conversation today. And then if you don't have enough to go behind it, and it's a killer.
It is. And do you know what you need to achieve that? Creative confidence, mate. Isn't that weird? Is it? Don't you? If you don't have the creative confidence to recognize that and then back it, then you've got no hope. I think we saw about 30% of campaigns, which I'd call that a cult hit, where you see them all the time on LinkedIn and in the marketing press. Beautiful creative work that will get put on an organic channel and reach 2 million impressions, and then it's on to the next one. What a wasted opportunity.
Do you think, and we kind of did touch on, but do you think that kind of cycle of we put live and gets made again for whatever reasons, it's like people change or whatever those reasons are, those cycles happen, that like the commitment to long-term campaigns that are creatively effective, if you have something that's powerful and you're like, I've got the confidence to back this, and I'm backing this for 5 years, or I've no intention of changing this unless I'm proven that it should. But like that bit of confidence.
I think there's very few examples of this. I'll give one example. It's this rail brand called GWR in the UK, Great Western Railway. That's run by this brilliant marketer called Amanda, who has worked with Adam and Eve for getting on to a decade now. They even went through a pitch at one point, and they've even though they went for a pitch, they still came back to Adam and Eve, and they stuck with the same creative idea, which is this brilliant cartoon about the famous five that they've ran consistently for years. That should be the marketing job. Amanda should be everyone. There's a case at the end of the PDF about this brand in the US called apartments.com that I've worked with Jeff Goldblum for 10 years, and they've gone from 30th in the market to number 2. So there are a few brands that do it.
Yeah, I think 100%. I think, and there are, I didn't know the Great Western Railway one, but I think Yorkshire Tea is probably another one that's a great example.
Great example. Kevin McAldy, Aldi.
Yeah. There are,
Guinness at Christmas, as you were talking about as well.
Yeah. But they still do cycles though, and I'm a huge fan of Guinness, so I'm not gonna the powerhouse of advertising get killed here. But you see their Premier League ads changed. Do you know what I mean? Like, why could they not have made something that was a commitment?
In the research, I refreshed the compound creativity work that I did with the IPA years ago, looking at that framework for consistency, where there's kind of 3 ways you can be consistent: your foundations, your positioning, your idea, and then your commitment, really, if you put it across more channels for longer. And the third way is making things look the same, running ads for longer, etc. You could change your execution.
Yeah. Like David Taylor, the brand Jim calls it fresh consistency.
Yeah, so, imaginative repetition. Yeah.
So like I buy that, but I still think there's examples where
too much change.
It's not that.
It's just well, look, every year when you're at an FMCG, you move your little brands and you want to make a new ad, and that's and that's how the marketing world keeps spinning. So how about you get off your little judgy stool, mate, and you come back down to the real world?
But it is, and look,
there's a role for freshness. There is a role for freshness, and there's a role for consistency. And it's getting that balance right and bringing your brand roots into the modern day.
So what should people be doing, right? So, again, people read this, and it is it's very useful, very practical. It is the type of thing you can go back and it'll help you think differently, and it's really well structured for that as well. I think it done in such a way that it's intriguing enough that other things that you call in and reference, they're things that people can go and read more on.
Oh, it's a little rabbit hole. Yeah, of course. Of course. Dull, Orlando Woods, Lemon and Lookout, all of Les Burnett and Peter Field's work. Yeah, it's all, Jenny Rubin, I can bounce out. I hope it's a useful worldview to allow you to operate within the modern marketing ecosystem, because there's even quite a lot of work in there from our studies with TikTok and how do you apply all this to short form. So I mean, people describe this as, it's chock full of evidence. Have a tinkle with it over the weekend, and when you get in on Monday, when you come into a decision, you might actually go, oh shit, actually, how is this going to make my customer feel? Is it going to make them feel more positive about my brand or not? Okay, great. It's helped make just a daily decision in marketing. So it's not, I don't think any of it's groundbreaking. It's probably a useful resource for getting into effectiveness for the first time as well.
Yeah, but also it's for people who are interested in this and have read a lot of the stuff that you've just referenced there. It's a great reference point to go back. I do think that's really helpful, because it particularly if you're in a global brand. I remember those days and people like, well, our market is different. And you talked about at the top there, fuck off. No, most human beings are human beings, and the insights, anyway, they tend to be the same. So it is incredibly useful. Was there anything that utterly surprised you?
Good question. Yes. I didn't think I'd agree so much with Byron Sharp throughout the whole fucking thing. You've asked me why I did this. It was to annoy him. and disagree with him, and I ended up disagreeing with him most of the time. So what surprised me, some of those principles that I want to put to the test. Unfortunately, distinctiveness is far more important than differentiation. There's evidence for that in this. And annoyingly, distinctiveness has become more important and differentiation has become less important because the world's changed and we now make most of our decisions not based on physical availability. So that I found that was shocking. But also we don't see that differentiation is useless. It has a role, which I think Byron might not agree with. I found the fact that the reason why behind loyalty is shit, we found in this book. Often, people talk about, and How Brands Grow talks about, the role for recruiting new customers is far more important for market share and revenue. We found that again, that new customer penetration has greater profitability and market share effects. We found that loyalty has some effects still, but we found that advertising has no role in delivering loyalty. So no matter how much you spend on media and how more creative your ad is, it doesn't increase the likelihood that you'll grow loyalty. So I do think that almost gives a bit of a reason why behind loyalty doesn't work, because you can spend your entire marketing strategy chasing it from an advertising point of view and you won't get there. And then finally, I think the most surprising thing was this idea that distinctiveness is creative efficiency. It turns media spend into revenue, but emotion is creative effectiveness, and it turns revenue into profit. So what do I mean by that? So all sounds very impressive, doesn't it? I mean, if you scale your media up and your ad is not distinctive, it will not turn into more revenue for you because it's just not being efficient. It won't get recognized for your brand. What's the point? It won't reliably turn into more revenue. But just being distinctive is not enough. And effective advertising is emotional, and it helps make more positive, influential memory structures that last over years. And that's what leads to profit. So then actually you look at, as work is more emotional and as it gets more media backing, you see an exponential lift in profit. It's not linear. So the more emotional work is, then every pound of media you put on that more emotional work, profit becomes exponential. That's why I think advertising is such an exciting thing that we should care about getting a bit nerdy on, because I learned a lot reading and writing this thing. Yeah.
3 years.
What was the most surprising thing for you, mate? I always get asked that question and then no one fucking tells me, because normally they've not read it. I believe you've read it.
No, it was, sorry, what the 9% report profit growth.
Okay, that was shocking.
That really that struck me.
Okay.
That struck
because
me.
You do marketing. You've done this a while. Yeah. You look like you've done this a while. So the 9% profit thing, you've done marketing. This is what clients work in. This is what This is what businesses operate in. Revenue. I can spend £1 million on an ad to put another £1 million in a till in Tesco. That's a waste of everyone's time. We're supposed to be creating advertising that changes memories to make our job easier next year, so we can clock off at 4 and go hug our loved ones. When he rules the world, he'll find this and he'll get me for that. Yeah,
he will. Andrew, listen, thanks a million for this. Appreciate you doing it late. It's always a joy speaking to you.
No, man, I hate speaking to you because everyone always asks me, Andrew, you're going to do a podcast and shit like this. I'm like, no, the world does not need another person.
Another Conor Byrne.
Another person doing a podcast. And then I talk to you, I'm like, shit, it'd be fun if I were to do a podcast with you. I'd actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
But alas, I'll leave it to you, mate, your cute little web show. You recorded Zooms, is that what we call it?
We won't give Zoom any credit. Listen, thanks a mil. I appreciate it. It's great. I've the link. People can easily find the book, but I have a link in the show notes.
It's for free online, not the printed version, which does exist. No. It exists. The PDF, the digital PDF, is free online for everyone. Just search the Creative Dividend.
It's gated though. It's gated.
Oh, quickly, can we talk about that, or do you want to ask me that after the podcast?
No, we can talk about.
So why it's just so a lot of I have a massive team. We've spent years building this strategy at System 1. And our job is to meet new marketers so they can use our tools on effectiveness, essentially.
Yeah.
So I work in the very fun side of the business where I turn all our data and work with our partners at TikTok, Effie, the IPA, ITV, all these brilliant places to show that our tools can be combined with data to make effectiveness happen.
Yeah.
That's what this book is about. It's another great addition to the marketing literature where you'll discover our data and you'll meet our people and our data. And then we spend millions doing that, mate. Literally, we interviewed 250,000 respondents to make this book. We have to pay for data. We have teams of researchers working on it for years. The least you can do is give me your bloody email in return for what anyone would normally charge you hundreds of quid for. So can you explain to me why I should remove the email gate and we might do it?
So all the things that you said it should do, right? It's using your data, it's showing the power of the data that you have, it's showing the power of the platform that you have. It all does that without you needing my email address, which then I get, all due respect, spammed with emails that I don't read.
Oh, interesting. We're quite good with our emails. We're quite emotionally enough.
No, I'm not saying that's unfair saying spam, but like I'm getting emails that aren't adding necessarily value. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to hook me in, get me to make an appointment. But this content does all of that without needing that.
Interesting.
And so by freeing the content, now look, you're
free the content.
Free the content. So by others probably in the space, like you are slightly different, I do think, in that, by putting a gate up, it's probably not restricting people downloading it. I don't think your numbers would go through let's say 100,000 people download this and you remove the gate. I don't think that's going to go to 1 million. Do you know what I mean? So probably for you, but I do think there are lots of cases where I've done a brilliant episode, which you can go back and listen to with Green Hat in Australia about this and really talking and digging into this topic about why do we put gates up and force people to put information in and not really engage with the content. And it may stop people actually going there, going, oh, fuck that. I don't need another email.
Yeah, I think we're quite a unique case because one, if someone signs up to us, it's like you get like the ad of the week and shit like this. It's just more good content. So I think there's a lot of trust there that I'm not going to start emailing you every weekend. Like, hey, mate, I'm actually quite lonely. Do you want to come through a Guinness? I actually sent you one of those emails before. But also, look, how about this? How about costly signaling? Do you guys talk about the fact that the fact that you have to put a bit of effort in to get this 120-page book that took 3 years and putting an email, and we're not just handing out to everyone, doesn't that inherently give it some value as well?
No.
Well, thanks for tuning in with us. Next week we have...
You can free the content.
Oh God, look, fine, mate. I'll send my marketing team this episode, and then you never know, it might happen. But literally, I think the least someone can do, I spent years writing this, is put your little email in. Otherwise, why not? Jog on if you can't. You can't be bothered doing that. I think there's 30,000 words here. I had to type those out. You can type in Conor at that's when I call marketing.com.
I couldn't even do that. Don't take my Gmail.
Okay, that's something I disagree with. I would open it up to personal emails. So I'll agree halfway with you there. Look, halfway. Anyway, look, I'm worried you're going to start invoicing me for a marketing strategy session here. So I think, look, I've been Andrew Tindall. That's it from him.
Listen. You can go to my custom GPT and ask the marketing expert.
I've heard about this, and I tried to do that, and it made me log on or something, and I couldn't get to it. I have a pro account. Oh. Can you explain?
That's weird.
Yeah, I'm going to try it again.
That is weird. Maybe I blocked you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because I was going through quite a difficult strategic time at work, and I thought, okay, I can basically ask that custom ChatGPT, and whatever it recommended, if I do the opposite, things might go quite well. Yeah, look, take off all the email gates. Oh, Jesus, okay, put more on.
I've no email gates on it. There's nothing on it. It's free. I'm not looking, and I've hundreds of hours that I've invested in this. 5 years.
That's quite cool, actually.
Screw you.
You uploaded all the transcripts and built an AI agent, and that's
to ask marketing expert questions. And what's really interesting, and genuinely, what's been brilliant is people who've used it and have gone like, I asked it a question and it genuinely gave me the best answer to that question that I've ever gotten, because it's pulling in from all this honestly amazing expertise and content, and it's actually it's serving up great responses for people. So yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I will put you to the test. Next time we do this, we do one of these, whatever these are called.
Yeah.
I'll come with a list of 10 questions. You come with a list of 10 questions, and we will interview your chat GBT agent.
Brilliant.
I think that'll be a great episode.
Listen, next time you're in Dublin,
I'll come with four pack of warm Guinness and a bottle of water for you, and I think that'll be a great evening.
No, we will do that. Will you? No, but here's the only thing: when you come over, don't tell me the day before. Like, if you didn't know,
I think I messaged you from the airport.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
mate, I'm in Dublin for 2 hours. You're free. Yeah. No, anyway, this is just us having a lovely time now. Mustache.
I know. Right,
mustache.
Andrew, thanks a mil.
Thank you. So good to chat.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. As I said at the start, Andrew is great fun, great to spend time with, great sense of humor, but underneath it all is a really smart, intelligent guy who digs deep into the research. Like, you could hear him talking about this, and yeah, they have teams in System 1 that support this, but Andrew goes deep and really thinks about what he's putting out in the world. And you know, these large publications are not easy to do, and as Andrew said, it took them 3 years to pull this together. So it is a really interesting piece of work. It's really useful, as we said in the episode. If you want to dig deeper, there are more places to go. Like, it can send you down a really great marketing and advertising rabbit hole. So go there, enjoy it. In the show notes, you'll find a link to the publication and also that green hat episode I talked about as well. I'll put that in there. Thanks again to Tracksuit for their partnership with today's episode. As I said at the start of the episode, if you want to hear more about Tracksuit, you can, of course, go to gotracksuit.com, or you can come to me and I will be more than happy to talk to you about my experience of using the Tracksuit platform. So that is it from this episode. If you have enjoyed it, do share it with one other person. All helps us reach even more amazing people just like you that really care about marketing. From me, your host, Conor Byrne, until the next episode, take care.
If you would like to reach an engaged community of marketing leaders, get in touch with That's What I Call Marketing to discuss sponsorship opportunities.